And a three, and a two, and a one, and hi, it is your boy, me, Awful, i.e., Big Dick, i.e., this one crackhead on Twitch, i.e., you probably got lost on YouTube, or maybe the title was intriguing enough to where you're like, I wonder what this idiot is going to say. Let me click on this video so I can watch, right? Or maybe you're just one of my number one supporters, which I'm still looking for the number one Awful fan. I've yet to find them. Although, like, I had a pretty funny occurrence the other day to where somebody with the name Awful actually followed me. Because I followed him, like, ages ago. Because I just happened to search. Awful, can we get onto the topic, please? Please, Awful. Yes, okay. The subject of today really is, the rise of depression. And also this generation, to be specific. Uh, you know, if you know anything about me, I live most of my life on the internet. More specifically, playing online games. Well, at least recently, I just started playing single-player games, embracing that lifestyle rather than playing live service games such as Destiny or whatever fucking live service game you have nowadays, be it Genshin or WoW or Dota. Fuck, there's just a bucket list, an endless fucking list of games, and well, we're not gonna go through all these, are we? Uh, but what I find common is I view myself as these teenagers, as these adults at some point, but I can also kind of understand where they're coming from. So I think they come from households to where I wouldn't necessarily say overly conservative, if conservative at all. I think it's just they're finding real life hard to relate to, and in most instances, they relate a lot more to public figures or online figures, be it on Twitch, be it on YouTube, be it on any other platform, by the means of content creators, politicians, people that play sports, etc. And it is an ideology, it is a form of worship, and it is dangerous because it is a degree of, it's a high degree of narcissism. I just don't know if that can be changed, and I don't know if it can be done in a healthy way to where it doesn't take away from, traditional values, so to speak. Because the last thing you want to do is worship oneself or worship another. And I don't mean like literally fucking, kneeling down and praying to those people, but like looking up to these people to such a degree that you want to mimic their lifestyle, that you mimic the way they talk, you mimic their sense of humor, etc. Or like your decisions are highly influenced by such individuals, because that is a very dangerous place to be in. And I think it is necessary to mention, because this is just an observation through my lens. I feel like it's just more and more common now. I mean, am I out of touch when I say somebody like Hassan? And like, this is just an example. No hate towards Hassan, obviously. But like, someone like Hassan has a lot more influence over a teenager or an adult compared to, a historical figure or a religion. You know? And I get it. In most instances, those teenagers, those adults are, like, you could say maybe they're not well educated, or maybe they just don't find those stuff relevant or relatable in a lot of ways. So it's hard for them to connect. And they seek to connect by the means of the internet. And it does facilitate their needs. But it's dystopian. I feel like we're living in a Black Mirror episode. We're just like at the alpha stages of it. And I don't know what the long-term effects of them are going to be. I will say that I think for the grand majority of people that use the internet, most of their social interactions and most of their friends are overseas. They never get to see them, they never get to meet them, but they know more about each other. They talk more to each other than they would talk to their, I guess, their spouse, their siblings, their friends at work, their friends at school. I mean, I for one, I'm like a living example. Like, I barely have any friends outside of the internet. And if I do not interact with them the same way I would interact with my friends on the internet or my viewers on the internet. So really, I say this, but I am part of the problem here. I and I don't know fully if like I'm embracing this lifestyle or maybe it's just an observation, because there's a level of hypocrisy here when I talk about a subject like this, well, criticizing it and maybe in a way vilifying it or have a scornful view of it, but also giving an input. I think if you were to look into say a content creator, say like a Twitch streamer, for example, you know, let's say within the boundaries of Twitch, because that's what I mainly do, right? And this isn't a conclusive answer, but this is just my answer. I feel like in most instances, it feels like a cult. It feels like it's a pyramid built by the streamer. And there's a level of like their hierarchical structure where like you have the mods below, and then you have the VIPs, and then you have like the newcomers, the viewers, so to speak, getting funneled in. And it all revolves around that one figure, be the streamer. And really, I try to mirror this to I try to mirror this to a lot of things, and it just applies, such as religion, such as well, really anything. And man, I just don't think I don't think it's healthy, but I also think a platform like that really capitalizes on parasocial and narcissistic people. Like if you have a I should say, like, English is my first language, so I'm trying to convey this without sounding like an absolute fucking retard. I guess what I'm trying to say here is, if you happen to have those characteristics, because they are on a spectrum, everybody has them to an extent, but it's like, if you're really good at them, then, oh my god, you are gonna make bank. You are gonna create a cult. Even if that is not your true intent, or like, it just happens naturally, it works very fucking well. There's a lot of live examples there. And that's just Twitch. It happens everywhere. Even say somewhere like work. You're always gonna have, you know, that one colleague that everybody's just, you know, okay with. And or say like your supervisor or your boss, and okay, maybe there's a degree of like reciprocal altruism to where like obviously you would have to do such things because, well, they're your superior, but it could be observed in like a friend group or a workplace, to where the same principles apply, but on a platform like Twitch, it's a lot more apparent, I want to say. And in most instances, I feel like streamers are pretty good at hiding it. They wear a pretty good mask. I don't know if I can try to convince myself that I'm not wearing a mask. I feel like I am at times, and sometimes not. I mean, everybody has to put on an act at some point. I just don't know if the act that I'm putting on is that great, that entertaining. Moving on to the next segment. I don't want to put fault for parents or society, but there's a degree of accountability that they should that should be considered, because we live in a day and age to where most households, the mom and the dads, you know, they have to work to make ends meet, and they're gonna outsource raising their children, be it to the internet or the government or whatever. And really, it's leaving it at fate's hands. So it's a shot in the dark. It's a gamble. You don't know what you're creating. You do not know what the end result's going to be. Is your child going to be this overly attached psychopath to somebody on the internet? Because, you know, the social life that he's supposed to grow up with in real life, I'm talking about, like not on the internet, not facilitated. Like, what are the long-term effects of those, considering that they're chronically or slash terminally online, be it like through Reddit forums or through chat rooms on Twitch or YouTube, etc. So it sets a greater question. And I did not think of this growing up, and maybe I wasn't thinking of this maybe 4 years ago, but I'm definitely thinking about it now because I'm seeing a surge of like young adults that are just trying to connect. Because I myself was at that place one time, and to a smaller degree, I kind of still am. So there's a level of understanding that it comes from a place of empathy. Like, they can discuss deep topics that maybe they wouldn't necessarily discuss with their parents or with people closer to them in real life, but they would discuss them in chat rooms. Be it religion, politics, sexual assault, very controversial things that I feel like it's either the things that they're talking about is taboo in the environment that they're in, or they don't feel they have the same level of comfort, which I think it gives me like a great level of honor that I get to discuss these sorts of things with people from the other side of the world. Like, yeah, like, okay, put background and stuff aside, I feel honored, man. Like, I get to talk about these things with people from all walks of life. It's amazing. But it also like makes me question, like, why do they not discuss these sorts of things in real life? Like, why do they not feel the same level of connection that they do? And what, like, I find myself at that dilemma too. And I don't know if it's like this self-created paranoia that I just don't get to discuss with most people. But I think the answer to it is very simple. It's because of the anonymity that the internet provides. Most people on the internet would never show their face, would never share their real name, which is like, I think one of the main reasons why people enjoy the internet. Again, that's another double-edged sword for other reasons, because, a lot of illegal activity can be perpetrated through anonymity by the means of the internet. But it's good in a way to where people can actually have good faith arguments and, meaningful discussions. Like, I get it, at the end of the day, having discussions such as these on the internet really change nothing. Like, don't be a Reddit revolutionary. But it's nice to have. It's what the internet's about. Because hopefully I'm not losing my mind. I mean, I am to a degree. Well, with the things that I do sometimes. You have that, like, when you log in, you have that level of freedom that you don't feel like you have going outside in public, to where you can just be yourself. Like, granted, yes, you're behind a screen, and maybe you're not so anonymous after all, but it's that illusion that it creates that you're anonymous, and it feels great. It does. And yeah, that's a subject that I wanted to discuss. I mean, if you have any thoughts that you wanted to share, be it through the comments, I'm gonna post this on YouTube /Reddit / maybe Twitter. I'm not really sure, but I might. But yeah, feel free to share your thoughts, like and subscribe if you give a fuck. If you don't, then, well, sucks to be me, I guess. This is just a raw recording. There hasn't really been any thoughts put in, or maybe not thoughts would be the right word. I would say the thoughts weren't assembled, so I was just raw dogging this, like always, right? And I like these sorts of videos. I hate writing scripts, and I hate reading through scripts. I like to just, freestyle most things, and I feel like I need to do more of these and just get better at them. Specifically when you work in an environment like Twitch, to where you just have to think on the fly and talk on the fly, and it all has to make sense. You know, sort of like poetry or like freestyles, so to speak. Uh, I noticed this one thing about me. I say the phrase "so to speak" so many fucking times. I have to like physically stop myself or mentally stop myself sometimes from saying it. But I think practice makes perfect, and with time I'll probably stop saying that phrase. But yeah, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you all for watching, and I will catch y'all on the next stream / next upload. Follow me on Twitch. A lot more things happen there. Thank you all for watching, and peace.